Hey guys, Big Anthony here. It is Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. Just wanted to make a video today making a couple of comments on a couple of big events that happened over the last couple of days. The first one being the Olympic opening ceremonies. I did not watch them as they were going on. I watched clips afterwards. I do not watch hardly any sports, including the Olympics. Everything's been so infiltrated today, and the athletes, the coaches, the organizations, the advertisers, everybody's off the deep end with all their wokeness. So I stopped watching sports years ago, and that includes the Olympics. But I did see some of the degrading ceremonies that they did, or staged, or practiced, or theatrical events, I think they called them. The guy that choreographed or wrote everything is supposed to be this wonderfully talented person. But it always seems to strike a chord that of all the religions in the world to choose from, they always seem to pick, the biblical religion of the biblical religion of Christianity. They always seem to pick that one, but yet the same people that you argue with about whether the Bible is true or not, or these events or that these events happened, will tell you that it's make-believe, it didn't happen, it's all made up, Jesus never existed, or if he did, he was trans, or he had a wife, or some off-the-wall statements that are totally untrue. And they'll take things like the flood, and the earth being created just like it says in the Bible throughout, that it's not this whirling planet going through the abyss at 2 million miles an hour, and that we are special, and we were created with a purpose and with the stamp of the Most High. Each and every person is created in His image and His likeness. No, they won't admit any of that, but all of their shows or ceremonies or whatever they do, it always seems to target the biblical truth. Is it maybe because they know it's really true, but they have to push it down so they could pull up and put the one world religion into effect? Why don't they pick Islam on the opening ceremonies? Why didn't they pick Buddhism or Taoists or Shintoism? What's the fixation with all the biblical mocking? And another thing everyone's saying, they mock the Last Supper, they mock the Last Supper. The Last Supper is called the Passover. If you look in Scripture, it's called the Passover. The Last Supper is not mentioned in the Bible. It's nothing to do with what happened. They had a Passover meal. They had a Passover meal, and much of America doesn't even celebrate Passover. So everybody's upset. I could see why you're upset on the Christian end of it. But you have to know the truth, too. These people mock you. If you know the truth sets you free. Don't be upset when they show this stuff. It's a badge of honor, because it's showing you that is the truth. Because they're mocking it and making fun of it and dragging it out and trying to degrade it or send subliminal messages with, the rider on the pale horse coming across the screen. Little do they know that rider coming across the screen, the pale horse, is for them. It's for them. The wrath of God, the wrath of Elohim, of the Most High, of Yahuwah, is for them, not for a believer. A believer is shielded and saved from the wrath of God because we are born again, a new creation, born from above. We have the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, unless you are, of course, just a person that gives God lip service, which most people do, and say, I believe in Jesus, and they walk away, and that's the last they heard of it. They live their life however they want, do whatever they want, celebrate whatever feast they want, get a little upset at stuff like this to show, oh, I'm a believer, but they do, in fact, live their lives antithetical to what the Bible actually says to do. So are they believers? Can you be a believer, do anything you want, live your life however you want, ignore everything that's written, but still say you're a believer and you're going to heaven? You're being fooled by the same system that's putting this stuff out, the beast system. Satan is fooling you. He's telling you you could do whatever you want and still believe in Jesus and you're still going to heaven. It's a lie. He's a liar from the beginning and he's a liar now, and he knows how to fool you. So if this does anything for people, Christians or whoever, and you're on the fence or you're not on fire for the Most High, you're not fully dedicated to him, you're not doing what he says to do in Luke 9:23, pick up your fence post, not your cross, your fence post, your stake, and set it down, plant it, and show who you are. That's what you need to do. Show you're a follower. Abandon the falsehoods that you're following and follow the truth that sets you free. That's what I want to say about that. They'll never do it against Islam, because if they did, the Olympics would have been burnt down the next day or that day. They're doing it against the truth. They're coming against truth and trying to change truth into their lie, which is the climate, the New World Order, the one world religion, all this other stuff that the WEF is pushing, the WHO, the CDC, all these government entities, all these nations, all these leaders of nations pretending they're all going to war. They're going to war, all right. It is to cause the chaos and the disorder. Ordo, what is it? Ordo, order out of chaos. Ordo ab chao, order out of chaos. They have to bring the chaos, the worldwide chaos first. And then they'll bring the order, which is the New World Order. Number 2, second comment today. The elections in Venezuela. Now, I did not follow them. I wasn't aware of everything taking place in Venezuela leading up to these elections. But I did see some information, and I have many Venezuelan friends that live here in the Charlotte area, and I have many, many Venezuelan friends that are in South Florida. I haven't spoken to them yet, but I will make a point of doing it. But from what I saw, the challenger, Edmundo Gonzalez, I think his name is, according to what I saw, he had 70% of the vote of the people. 70%. But yet Maduro sends his henchmen to the voting places to steal the boxes or to threaten people or what have you. Does it sound familiar? We went through it in 2020. It's very similar, except the army wasn't shooting at people like they were, or the police and the army weren't shooting at people like they were in Venezuela. However, some of them even took their shirts off or something. Was that staged? I don't know. Could be. But the people supposedly are uprising. We'll see what happens. But Maduro did win when these guys are saying 70% of the vote was theirs, the opposition party. And I think somebody was just kidnapped in the guy's family. This guy, Gonzalez's family, just a short while ago. I've seen some reports on that. Haven't read through it yet, but that's what's going on. Is that a picture of where we're headed in our elections? I mean, we're talking about, the better part of 3 months away. That could be our streets in 3 months. Are you ready for that? Have you prepared for that? Have you prepared for the order, the chaos, and then the so-called order that's going to ensue afterwards? Have you made plans? Have you spoke to loved ones? Do you have food and water and self-defense tools? Medicine? First aid? A network? A second means of communications? Even if it's a walkie-talkie? No, everybody's walking around posting selfies and, getting their butt injections, lip injections. Men taking steroids and looking in the mirror and thinking they got muscles. Doing it the easy way. Wake up, America. There's a gentleman, I'll mention him on the last point I want to make here. And the last point I want to make is something that I think is going to pull all of this um, order out of chaos together. And it's the influx of illegals into not only this country, but other sovereign nations around the world, of which are experiencing many of the things we're experiencing. We're a bigger landmass than France, than the UK, but they're having the same issues. They're having stabbings. People are getting abused. I think people in the UK, I think like 9 people were stabbed and 3 people died so far. A few of them children. I think there's 5 children in the hospital. Who did the stabbing? Take a guess. Who's doing all the assaults and gang violence? Most of it in the United States, in the big cities like Chicago and New York and LA and other cities. What's happening? Where are all these hundreds of thousands, millions of military-age men going to do when there's upheaval in this country, where there's maybe an election contesting over who really won, which I think may happen in November? What's going to happen with all those people that weren't here? Many of them weren't here 4 years ago. Many more are here now under the Biden administration. I think 20 million plus have been brought in. It's a coordinated effort, a global coordinated effort to do this. These people represent well over 100 nations around the world. We're not just talking Mexicans and Hondurans. If you go to, and I'll put his link in the description, because he's coming out with a full-length documentary. I think one is called Treason, and the other one, or maybe just one documentary. It's coming out in the beginning of October. His name is J.J. Carrell. He was a border agent, and now he's like an independently exposing the border crisis and exposing all these political people in our government and their people they're attached to and that they command, that they are treasonous of what they're doing and did to this country. But yet we have people going around saying there's nothing going on. They'll fact check, they'll this check, that check. Who's checking the fact checkers? That's what I want to know. Who are the fact checkers? Do the fact checkers ever make themselves public and show who's giving them their paycheck? Are they independent? What website are they using to fact check? Because it seems to me every time I post something that I know is true, it gets fact checked as false. I posted one of Joseph Stalin. I know he said it in 1923 about the people that win elections are the ones who count the votes. Now, did Maduro just prove that? He recounted the votes, I guess, and he won. Because if he let the real votes be counted, he would have lost by 70% to 30%. Makes you wonder, right? So they fact-checked that as wrong. Is it wrong? Did what happened in Venezuela not really happen? Was the Gonzalez's campaign, they made a mistake? It wasn't 70% exit polls? Or whatever they used to come up with their number? 3 major things happening in this country that are bringing us to our knees. And it's actually a worldwide thing. 3 things are going to transpire. There's a coming, this is a biblical statement, there's a coming of the lawless one. There's coming a world leader that they are going to give power to in a future date. He may already be here. And he is going to take over and run this global system once it gets orchestrated. They don't have enough chaos yet. They need more chaos. And they have more coming with the bird flu summit coming in October. Number 2, the coming of a one world government. A blind person can see that being shaped right now. Every country that says it's a sovereign nation is being invaded, and their culture is being destroyed, and they're being destroyed from within by their own leaders. But yet we're supposed to think that North Korea we're in danger from North Korea or Iran. Iran's going to invade us. North Korea is going to invade us. Russia's going to invade us. China's going to invade us. Well, I have news for you. They're already here. People from North Korea, from China, from Russia, from many African nations, many in the Middle East. Hundreds of thousands of Afghans are here. Yemenis. There's a group even associated with Israel, Hayas, that's a Jewish NGO that's bringing in Palestinian terrorists or Palestinian people. I'm not saying everyone's a terrorist. Why would that be happening to this country? Helping them get here from, from the highways that lead up to our southern border. So is our government working with the enemy, but yet saying we're at war with the enemy to keep us off balance? Are they really at war with Russia or China when Russia or China people are here? Could be military age men that are actually military trained. Not only military age, but military trained. And they know how to operate. And maybe they just need some weapons and some guidance and to be, pointed in the right direction. Could that happen? Is it happening? Has it happened? I think the evidence is pointing yes. J.J. Carrell's documentary is going to come out, and he's saying that, I'll just give you an example, in Chicago, the black people in Chicago are getting ready to go to war with the illegal immigrants that are there trying to take over like gang turf in the streets. Right now, as I speak, that's happening. And it could probably happening in New York. It's probably happening in other cities. Will it spread to small towns and rural areas? Of course it will, because the NGOs are making sure of it, that these people are dispersed throughout certain voting districts and certain states that are red. What I'm saying is it's a coordinated effort. In the end, it's going to bring a one world government. And number three, I stated it in the beginning, talking about the Olympics and the mocking they did of Christianity, the coming of a one world religion. That's already, actually the foundation has already been set long ago. Now they're putting the building blocks in, and they're building the wall. I remember when I was younger, and I'll close after this, my father took us, my brother and I think my sister came, or it might have been a couple of our friends, to the Pink Floyd concert they were playing in Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, I believe. I believe it was there. This was in the early 80s. I was still in high school. And we saw the famous Wall, their album, The Wall, Pink Floyd, The Wall. We saw the concert, and it was out of this world fantastic. I mean, seeing that live and them, do all the theatrics that they did. Well, during the concert, The Wall, as the songs played and as they told the story of the album, they built the wall, brick by brick. Another brick in the wall, and the wall went up. And by the end of the concert, the wall was built. And they sing the finales and all that. But this is what reminds me of this world system that's being built. All these countries saying they want to go to war. All these countries, all these leaders, religious leaders, clergy, pastors, priests, Orthodox, this docs, that docs, rabbis, all holding hands together saying all roads, all paths of religious activity lead to God. That's what people want to hear. Everything's good. Love is love. Everything leads. But we have to push out this conspiracy theory of Christianity. We have to make a mockery of it. Get rid of it. It's exclusive. It says there's only one way to God, through his Son. That's how dare they have only one way. There's multiple ways. You could be whoever you want. Do whatever you want, as long as you're sincere. My pastor said so. My priest said so. My rabbi said so. They're Orthodox. They wear fancy things on their heads and carry golden staves and sit on big chairs like kings. They told me it was fine. Yeah, it's going to be real fine when the pit opens up on Judgment Day and the lake of fire comes up from below to the top and everybody gets ready to be dumped into it, because that's where they're going. That's where you're going in the one world system. When you take the mark and you follow the beast and you do all the other things that the word really says, speaks the truth. That's where you're going. That's what his wrath is coming for. Your unbelief and refusal to submit, your pride, your arrogance. You're following man's doctrines and man's ways and trying to usurp God, giving Satan his hand, thinking that he could usurp the Most High, because that's what he wanted from the beginning, like to be like the Most High, the anointed cherub. That's where all this is leading. Olympic mockeries, election cheating, governments screwing their people over, killing their own people, bringing others in that are not even citizens and putting them ahead of their own people, elected officials, turncoats, bringing in illegals by the millions, giving them money, food, clothing, shelter, over people that have spent their lives scrimping and grinding at work, paying taxes, most of their money going to taxes and all kinds of things that the government charges. Their whole lives to get a pittance at the end for a couple of years they have left. And then thinking that it's a gift from the government. Yet somebody comes in and gets twice as much or more, doesn't even work a day here. We don't know what diseases they have, where they're from, what their background is. But come on in. Statue of Liberty welcomes you. The devil in the harbor there. The demonic Liberty. She welcomes you. Lady Liberty. Let me close before I get out of control, guys. Thanks for watching. More videos to come. Big Ant signing off. Take care and stay ready.